Big us everyone. Welcome to the Kyokushin Shuffle Fighters Profile here episode. Here's my little passion side of giving the fighters a bit of airtime and getting to know them a bit better. And I've got two. I'm not too sure if they're handsome lads. I've got to be honest, but I'll go. I'll go on a nice angle here. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce Senpai Dean Polly from Buddha Kyokushin Karate
Yes.
and the Kumite Academy, and Senpai Nathan Phillips from Power Karate under Shihans, Jimmy Phillips. Gents, good evening. How are you?
What's good?
Buddy, good. Yourself?
Good. Dino, give us a kickoff, mate. How's it going? You're in Melbourne. I'm in Melbourne. How's it going? Give us an idea.
It's been a bit different. Stage 4 lockdowns, as everybody knows, just adapting and missing the karate as well, the gym, and not being able to train. So it's been a bit of a challenge, but I've been able to adapt my training, build a gym out the back, conversing with everybody, getting tips off the drills and bag work, and recording myself and following up with yourself and other partners as well. And yeah, currently working from home at the moment too, just staying safe and being healthy. But besides that, all good. Everybody else is healthy.
Let the listeners know, what do you do for a job?
So I'm a primary school counsellor working out in the, we call them the low SCS, or the areas where a lot of vulnerable students are, and poverty and domestic violence. So at a time like this, it is a very busy time for myself and the school there, and just making sure we're keeping on top of not just the students' mental health, but also the families and the staff.
Yeah.
So
we'll deep dive a bit more into your career and studies, and that's good. Senpai Nath, how are you? How's it going in Sydney, mate?
Yeah, it's a lot better than down there where you guys are. Our restrictions are nowhere near as bad, so I'm still able to go train at the dojo, go to work with no problems and stuff. It's a little bit different. It was previously too. Like I was training out at a few different schools beforehand. When COVID hit, actually, I was in Thailand with Shihan Judd Reed for his camp. As I got back, I had to go straight into lockdown. So like the whole week that I was there, and I was feeling really fit, had fights lined up, and then nothing for 2 weeks. It sort of lost everything that I worked for. But we're getting back up there now, which is a good thing.
Yeah. No, that you've segued something there for me, for the listeners. You know, we had Shihan Judd Reed had his tournament ready to go for gents. Could you help me out? Was it March or April? And due to COVID, you know, so we were all on fire, weren't we? We were all up and about, and you two boys fight under the Zen Kyokushin Australia banner under Shihan Jimmy Phillips and Shihan Billy and myself, and you know when that hit you guys as young up and coming fighters, you know, be honest here, you know, Dean, how did that, you know, I know how that felt for you, but share with others how you were like, come on, you know?
Yeah, getting it taken away was not fun. Like, I believe we were prepping for Arnold's and going, is it happening? Is it not?
That's right.
What's going on? And then literally, I still remember that week vividly. Grand Prix shut down. I'm like, there's no way the Arnold is coming. Next thing you know, Arnold shut down. And I'm like, shit. And then to top it off, ACCA's at the end of this year, done, cancelled. So then Judd, so it is a punch in the gut, like a low blow, and you're like, shit. But got to make sure that we stay on top of it. Obviously, this year I miss it. I do miss it a lot. It's a part of me that's not there anymore this year, and it feels weird.
Yeah. Hey, Nathan, how was Shihan Judd's camp in Thailand?
Unreal. It's the second time I've been, and it's the best experience of my life. It's unreal.
Why? Share with us that haven't been. Share with us some of the highlights there.
Oh, just being with a whole bunch of other people that are there for the exact same reason. You know, you're running up this hill that just absolutely kills you, and everyone else is feeling the exact same as you. So you're just pushing each other. There's nothing like it.
Yeah,
and the fact that you're learning from someone who's got that first-hand knowledge of being in Japan for those years. How
did you go? Like in the fact of day, you know, 3 sessions odd per day. What day were you starting? Was your body starting to talk to you and say, hold on a minute, Nath, what are we doing here, mate?
Day one. No, like the last 2 years, it's been the exact same scenario. The first 3 days, everything hurts and you're just in pain. And then the last 2 days, you sort of, everything clicks and you realize why you're there. You know, you're there for this reason, so let's just go. And then everybody's attitude sort of lifts at the same time.
Right.
That's cool. Really cool feeling.
And then when you come back, or when you're near the end, you know, the year before and then this year as such, what was the difference that you found in yourself internally? You know what I mean?
The perseverance. I could just keep going with things that I didn't before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So, lads, you know, let's break the ice on one of the big things here. Dean Polly, your father is Shihan Bill Polly, and Nathan, your father is Shihan Jimmy Phillips. Now, you two boys have shared an amazing journey together, but so separate as such. You know, the paths have gone separate ways. And I wanted you guys on, like I did with Senpai Michael Den and Senpai David Weir Smith. You know, they had their angle as best mates and under the VKKA, but you boys are under Zen Kyokushin, and I wanted to tap into this side. So Dean, you know, I've known you since you were 5 years old. I've been a part of the dojo, but then I've become your teacher as well. But, you know, give us a bit of an understanding of having a father as such, as a master in the style and art that you have. And then Nathan, the floor is yours as well after Dino.
Yeah, so like you said, 4 or 5 years old, born into it, live and breathe it. It was around my life. I still remember stories about hearing when my mum was born, when I was born, and all karate people coming to visit my mum, or dad going, "Oh, I got to go overseas to a tournament or something. Also, I got to go see her." It's there has been over the years that the not expectations or people saying, "Oh, so Shihan Bill's son," or your dad was a great fighter. I hear stories. We know he did this. He's achieving this. What are you doing, Dean? What's happening with you? So everybody's kind of, sometimes there is a pressure that's put on where people are going, oh, okay, what's he going to do next? Oh, I've had people come up and go, you're Shihan Bill's son, Dean. I go, yes, that's me. But I think what the main thing is that I've always been motivated to do my best and not be my father, but to be myself and grow my Kyokushin and my spirit and journey in this. Also, I am lucky to have Shihan Bill, and I don't even call him dad around karate people and stuff. Sure. It's Shihan Bill. If I call him dad, I can't. It's really weird in karate terms. It is Shihan Bill, but it is a roller coaster because there are expectations that Shihan Bill has of me, and then everybody else expects things of me. But at the end of the day, I've had the support from everybody around me. Shihan Bill's always said, "You want to do it, you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's your choice." And to this day, I've stuck with it, kept to it, to Nidan, and don't look back. I just want to keep looking forward.
Now, I'll share a quick story for the listeners. Senpai Dean was about 10 years old when he first came to Japan. He was lucky to come to Japan, and myself and a couple of the senpais were on our fighters trip as such. And Senpai Dean was he grew up pretty quickly. We'll give everyone a heads up. Didn't you, mate?
Yeah. I did. I think it was 05, first trip. Yourself, Sensei Brett was fighting, I believe, too. Yeah. Shihan Judd fought in that as well. Yeah. It was Okinawa, I believe it was, that tournament there.
Fukui.
Fukui. 05, that was my first trip. Shihan Bill goes, "You're coming. I want you to see this." He was building me into that lifestyle, making me understand what this is all about, and that when you get to that age, this is the shit that's going to be going on. This is what's going to be happening. It's the beast.
Yeah.
And since then, done another few more. I think I've gone about another 5 times to Japan, and love the culture over there and the Kyokushin and the family there.
We'll get to the trips and your accomplishments there. Thanks, Dean. Hey, Senpai Nathan, similar to Senpai Dean here, your father's Shihan Jimmy Phillips. And, you know, to many out there, go and check out one of the chats I had with Shihan Jimmy. But Senpai Nathan, how is it? How does it feel? And walk us through a similar time frame there of, you know, your birth as such, or when you're a little kid all the way up to your age now.
Very similar, you know, basically born in the dojo. Not just dad, but mum was also a national champ in Australia too. So karate's pretty much been in my blood since I was born. My sister never got around to it though, which is funny enough. But yeah, growing up, always dojo this, dojo that, karate this, karate that. That was Dad's passion. It still is. He loves it. And we love it too. There's been many a times where he's given up certain things to go and do it, and I've done the same thing. Like he's missed our birthdays or whatever because he's had to go to Japan. And as kids, that kind of upset us a little bit. But looking back at it now, it wasn't that bad at all. You have a birthday every year. You see him all the time now. But the sacrifices were hard, I suppose, then, but it's worth it in the end, really. Now I feel like I'm starting to grow up a little bit, and because of what happened back then, I feel like I'm a certain type of person that I am now. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think too many people can appreciate you two lads and the upbringing. Is probably the best word. And I mean, I used a couple of analogies of, the students as such, and doing Kyokushin or doing any certain martial art, and hearing the consistent positive reinforcement of what training does and what health does and the well-being of what training, no matter what style. But you guys lived and breathed it. As you said, you probably spoke about it at the dinner tables, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I guess this is the part that I wanted the listeners to get a grasp of, because these two lads, they're not longer boys anymore. I've known them since they were pups, but they're grown men now, and they're becoming the top, they're top 5 fighters in Australia now, which alludes me to the next bit here, fellas. So, can you both, Dino, give us an idea of, and for the others, how you went on your, I guess, leading into your black belt grading? Because I want you to share that with them, because you were at a younger age, and the fact that you grew up with training against Australian champions in our dojo, and you grew up facing some no bullshit as such in the dojo, and you also had school and you had other things to go with. So give us a perspective on that.
Yeah, the lead up showdown was a bit of a funny story. I remember at around 18, I believe it was, myself and training partner Senpai James. I think we caught Shihan on a shit day. He wasn't very happy. He wasn't happy about how we were going. I don't know what it was or what was going on, but he turned to us, cracked it, and goes, "You boys are going to do the grading in a month's time. I don't care." We're like, shit, okay. Well, are we ready? Are we prepared? Later on, found out that obviously we've been preparing from the age of 12. Like you said, in the past videos, 7 to 8 years it takes to prepare for that showdown and above. But we were very scared about that and thinking, is this happening? What's going on? Are we ready? How can we learn 100 techniques? How are we going to go in the fighting? I guess at the end of the day, it was more of a mental game. We knew the techniques. We knew how to do everything. I knew how to do everything. It's just about a battle of the minds and being able to persevere and not give up, and remembering that word, os, and perseverance. But I do remember vividly my showdown grading too. I did get my knee popped out and popped back in by Senpai Jared in one of the Kumite fights. That was fun, but in my head I said, no, not giving up, got to keep going. And to this day, that grading is something that will live with me throughout my life, of just teaching me that the resiliency and not dying, and that you're not done until you're actually dead.
Yeah, well, you did prove it, and I can talk firsthand, because I was one of the culprits in making sure that you got your ass kicked hard and pushed in the lead up to it. And it was, again, the environment that you were a part of. And, I thought more so, you were going just through year 12, or just finished year 12, I think, and just starting uni. Where were you there?
I think I would have been first year uni, because I believe it was 18, 19. So yeah. I just finished year 12. So that was also on my mind, because exams were around the time of the grading too. So it was being able to balance that. And that has been a hard thing over the course of training, is balancing high school, when I used to play rugby, footy, karate. Shihan would take me to sports on Saturday, training, come back. Same thing. It's just that balance and like flow and rhythm between going through uni, coming home, training, studying. Next day, let's do it again. Go to class, go train, come home, just repetition. But it was a big challenge of balancing all that too.
Nath, how did you go, mate? Could you share with us a bit of a back end on that?
on my Shodan. I think I was 13 when I did my Shodan, and I grew up as a bit of a big kid. I still am pretty big, I'd say, but I too was in the same position as Dean. I was like, shit, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I can go through with this. But one cool thing that that Dad does about a black belt grading is he makes you write an essay before you sit it. He makes you write down what you've done since you started karate, when you started karate, all your tournaments, all your gradings, this and that. I think it was while I was writing that out that it clicked in my head, like, shit, yeah, you can do this. Look what you've done already. Why are you thinking that you're going to stop now?
Mm.
So then I got to the grading, and once again, that was really hard, obviously. I actually remember after all the fights, I mean, I was crying, I was sore, like, getting dropped and this and that. But after the fights, Dad had got all the black belts in a circle and asked how old everybody thought I was. I think some of the answers were like 16, 18, 19, and I was like 13. So there's a bit of a difference between a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, I'd say. And the way that those guys were fighting me, it was pretty hard, pretty brutal. But looking now, once again, like, if I didn't go through that then, I wouldn't be here as I am right now.
Yeah, well, that's good, fellas. It's nice to hear that, again, in the amount of time that we have and good answers. So, you guys achieve your Shodans at an early age in respect of potentially what others do, what others have. I was 25, I think 26, and that's just comparative. But you guys then started to blossom enough and mature with your bodies in respect of now starting to become fighters. And as black belts already, the expectation, I know Dean shared it a little bit earlier, we didn't put the expectation of him being the same as Shihan Bill, but we had the expectation of him, and we still do, of doing his best and achieving his potential, right? So he had the pressure of me and many others saying, you have potential, you have a chance here, you can fulfill this, you've seen what it takes. So Dino, you start to transition from, and again, you both haven't shared your ages, so share your age to others when we get to you. And now that the transition of being that black belt at a young age and then going, okay, now we got to get to, what is it? Did you go, okay, I'm going to become a really good fighter here, or it's just a part of me and it'll take its path wherever it takes me? How did you feel back then?
I think my path over the last, I'm going to say 5 years has changed to what it was originally. I'm 27 now. In 2016, about 23. I was a bit late to the party of starting kumite and competing. Before that, my journey was in Kyokushin to just push, keep going, get to that next level, teach, grow everybody else. Whereas now my journey is a bit different. Is that I've seen the potential of what I can achieve in tournaments and competing. That I'm growing that aspect of my Kyokushin brand, as you call it sometimes. So it will chop and change, but at the end of the day, the grassroots is just to better myself and technique and complement not only my kumite side, but also the guidance and teaching side, because that is, at the end of the day, I can't fight for the rest of my life, but I can teach for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you fall in the mix that I have, and that's probably because of our teacher, because of Shihan Billy, because we had the yin yang of being, the potential of being a good fighter, and then also instructing and having that passion as well. I had both, and you have a similar trait as well. Nathan, how did you go? Were you starting to, because you were entering tournaments when you were young as well?
I
before Dean.
When I was little, but as I got my black belt, I sort of stopped competing. Don't really know why, but I didn't fight again until I was 19, and that was my first fight, and I was an adult, and it was Arnold Classic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I stopped. And
how old are you now?
I'm 23 now.
Okay, so 4 years ago. Dean's been about 5 years, 4 years. We've had to polish him and groom him as such, and you're only 4 years into the mix as well. Yeah. So what was becoming your angle, Nathan? Because I know you've done kickboxing as well, and your dad has a pedigree in that as well. So how are you guys starting to mold, I guess is probably the best word?
With the kickboxing side of things, before all this COVID stuff happened, I was actually going over and training with Peter Graham. He was helping me out with that a lot. 'Cause as you know, we as Kyokushin fighters have a bad tendency with our hands and dropping them down and getting punched in the face. So he was helping me out with that. He was trying to set me up some fights, but then everything got shut down, and we'll hopefully get back around to that.
Well, that's exciting.
In terms of karate, though, I still love karate. Like, that's still the passion there for combat sports with me. It just occurred to me before that when I was in Thailand, I was actually training up for another world tournament in Japan, Mr. Sato's tournament, the Global K1.
Oh, yeah.
And I completely forgot about that. That's how long I feel like we've been stuck in this bubble. But I was actually getting pretty confident about that tournament, because last year I fought the champion in my first round, and I only just lost to him, basically. Like, I felt like I really could have beaten him if I just wasn't as nervous as I was. So there I am. I'm feeling really confident about going back to Japan. I think I could actually win this. I can win this thing, you know. And then, yeah, it didn't end up happening, which is a shame. But I'm looking forward to the future and getting back over there again and doing it soon.
Oh, definitely. Nice segue towards, I guess, Dino. Let's have a share with the others. You know, we were fortunate. We were with the So Kyokushin group in 2016 under Oishi and Hanshi Oishi and Hanshi Hasegawa. And that was my last hurrah. I was going to end it in Japan, and I had a bit of a wild card to go into that world tournament. But you had a window there too, and you joined us in representing Australia with that, and you were thrown against the wall. We threw you in there pretty hard, and you know, give us a walkthrough of how you experienced your first world tournament in 2016. It seems like yesterday for me, because it was my last hurrah, but how does it feel for you?
Yeah, it was a bit of it was very nerve-wracking, because second tournament ever, given the opportunity, you want to have a crack, I'll always be happy to have a crack and give it a shot. And I think flying over there, just going the day before, shitting my pants, walking in, seeing all the people going, okay, this is really happening now. Then walk up, first fight, go up to the mat, stand there, found out that I had a bye. Fighter, I think, didn't want to compete. I'm not sure what happened. But just that feeling of waiting and watching the fights and just seeing it all go down, coming up. And then, funny enough, I ended up competing against Shihan Takuma, the number one fighter, the world champion there. So, and that was only my second tournament. But to go through that, and can't remember how third round or fourth round. Third round. Go make it to the third round and compete against a big boy, probably your height, Nathan, from Denmark, and win that one. And then on to Shihan Takuma. It gave me a good confidence boost to say, hold on, I've been in the ring with other world fighters. I've competed against the world champion. I came out with a few knocks and bruises, no major injuries. I was like, I can do this. I didn't get hurt. My fears had gone. So I think it was a big step to where I am today and what I've achieved today in the kumite. So I'm very thankful that you guys threw me in the deep end there and just said, go swim. And I'm happy that I didn't back down and took on the opportunity.
Yeah, I just got goosebumps hearing that, mate, because I you know, it's not about me, but I was able to put two hats on, and I took the risk in Shihan asked me, did you want to do this? And my side of it was, that was my third world tournament. So I was there in 08, 12 and 16. I wanted to end it there. And to be honest, I was just too focused and solely focused on you doing well. I had the fear of, like, nothing better happened to you as such. You know, we need to take care of you. And then I went into my round and stuffed it thoroughly. But then I shrugged it off, and then we were on to you. And I'll never forget when you went on the mat for your first round. We both went onto the mat in our first round, because I made the second round the next day, and you made your fighter wasn't there, and you came up to me and stormed off and was all shitty. And he was like, well, where is he? And I'm like, that's what happens. Some people don't make it here, and that's what it is. And you was just so filthy. And then you calmed down the next day and you took care of business. And then when we fought Shihan Takuma, mate, you know, 2-time world champion, the lead up into those fights, you know, we're trying to tell you, don't worry about him knocking out everyone, because he was knocking out everyone. He was kneeing everyone. He was washing everyone. He was just finishing everyone off. But you stuck to the game plan. We had to stick to something, and what an achievement. And to this day, you know, you guys are good friends. We're all good friends with him. But, you know, in just one more thing, in sharing with others that may not be aware, you were also invited to go to Shihan Takuma's 100-man kumite. How did that go?
Yeah, that was a lifetime experience that I was not going to say no to. And Shihan Bill goes, do you want to come over? 100-man kumite, Hanshi Hasegawa, or Soshi, I believe now, was asking, we want some fighters. Or Shihan Bill, bring over Dean. It was a different experience sitting there, seeing all the showdowns and above, waiting. I think I got to do a couple fights at the start, and then was lucky enough to be selected in the last 10 of close family and friends.
Yeah.
And just at that last, I think I was the 93rd fight. I still remember that day. And coming up against him, even though he was 90 fights in, he was still as strong as the first fight, and still as strong as I fought him in the tournament. But then looking in his eyes too, and just seeing as well the not giving up. He was another beast, and they are another beast over there. And Shihan Takuma proves that. But I believe that he's put up a video now of the highlights too of that. But yeah, still to this day, I'll never forget that, sitting there down Cezanne watching it, the gong going off, next fighter up, and he's knocking all the other fighters out too.
He destroyed people.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a memory that will stay with me forever too.
Yeah, Nathan, you know, you've done some trips as well. What was one of the trips that you wanted to highlight or bring up that you know, expanded your learning and turned you into, you know, again, who you are as such from coming away from it?
When I think about fights or trips that I've had, there's two real big fights that come into mind that sort of shaped my mindset now. Number one is when I was 19, I went to New Zealand and I fought in the New Zealand Nationals there. Ended up making it into the finals. Well, I got my first ever ippon there with a nice hizagiri right to the face. And then Pete Parsons was the fighter after me, did the exact same thing. So Pete and I met in the finals.
Nice.
As a kid, Pete was one of those guys that I just grew up watching fight all the time. Like, you know, like, fuck, wow, that's Pete Parsons. I'm about to fight Pete Parsons, you know? So, but we went in extension. Eventually he got me with an Shiraski, but that, to me, the fact that I was able to go in extension with Pete Parsons, who's like an idol in the Kyokushin world for me, was what made me think like I got a red hot crack here, you know?
Very good.
And the other one was the tournament that Shihan Judreed did. Nobody has ever hit me as hard as that Japanese guy hit me. Yeah. And just watching them all in general, like it was just a surreal experience to see how easy they made it for us. But yeah, no one has ever hit me as hard as he did, and he was one of the smaller guys on that team as well.
Yeah, well, don't discredit the fact that that Sensei is one of the top 5 fighters in the world. Yeah. He's a multiple world-time champion, and the experience that he had is one of the best. So, you know, I know you're not, but, you know, yeah, they're two good highlights. You know, Pete Parson, for those listening, you know, I interviewed him, not sure what number, but he's in New Zealand, hasn't lost the title in, I'm going to go for the pun, I don't remember, it was 12 years, 13 years straight. And then he came to Australia and won 5 straight. So, you know, we have had to deal with his pressures as well. You know, he's knocked out a couple of our senior fighters, and yeah, he's quite a presence. And well done to you, you know, in sharing that, and more so because the next tier of lads are going to probably be saying that about you, Nathan. You know, the way you're going, mate. So, you know, send a bit of fear into some of the young pups out there, but you're still young as well. Dino, give us an angle here for the listeners on the level of, you know, I know the answer, but the others won't. You know, you sacrificed, I guess, in the angle of your career, and people have to understand, you know, this isn't full time, and you know, you have a career, you've studied hard for it. You know, share with others, you know, I guess that the Dean Polly that is outside of the dojo and outside of the gi at the tournaments. You know, give us an idea there and how you've balanced in segue of all the tournaments and how you're, working towards, your fighting career for the next 5 more years.
Well, so yeah, when I was studying, I did a degree in master, so about 5-6 years of study. So it was hard to balance that full-time studying, working casually as well, and also training either for preparation for tournaments or grading, so just regular karate just to keep up my skills and stay sharp. I think that it's important to find that balance, and what I found worked for me is karate was my outlet from everything else. It was my break from uni. Now it's my break from work. It's break from just any shit out there. You come in the dojo, as soon as you say "us," walk on that mat, everything else is left outside, and you just crack on and do whatever you want. And I guess that's helped me being able to balance everything and to build kind of parameters around certain areas of, okay, this is my work area. I'm going to focus on that. When I leave that, I'm not focusing on that anymore. I'm focusing on, it could be family and friends or partner or karate or whatever else it is. In regards to preparing for tournaments was harder during working full time, and now working as a counselor, I got to ensure that I'm there full time. So it's either training before work or after work. And training after work, I finish it in the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, straight to the dojo, not back home till 11 o'clock, to bed, up again the next day. It's continuous of just over repetition of work, karate, bed, work, karate, bed. And my sister, girlfriend, grandparents, all that, they've said, where are you? Where are you going? I go, karate, you got to train. I don't want to be out there and put myself in a position in a tournament where I have gone, shit, I didn't prepare enough. I always want to finish a tournament no matter win, lose or draw, that I gave it my best. What can I do better? So in the next 5 years for me, I do my achievement still is the Australian champion through ACCA.
Yeah.
So that is the one that I still want to get, that I'm still trying to push for.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop until I get that.
No, good one. No, there's a bit of a message for others, in a respectful way. That's a highly ranked tournament, isn't it? And that we've all been encouraged from that end. But that's good. I appreciate you sharing that, because I see it, and I see you tired and stuffed and lethargic, and I've got to, ask you to flick a switch every now and again, and you do. But it's more for the listeners to understand, and they probably all listen. Some of the fighters out there nodding their head, going, oh, "Shit, yeah, that's." So Nate, how do you go with it? You're mentioned to everyone your trade and your, how busy you are as well.
So I'm a carpenter. I do a lot of laboring through the day, climb over a lot of roofs and shit. It gets pretty draining. There's days I get home and I just, drop my tools down, pick up my training bag and drag my feet back out the door. And, I got mom or my girlfriend, they're like, well, what are you doing this for? And I'm like, I just have to, I got to go. It's just something that you have to do. You can't, the more that you put it off, like if you have a night off, then you don't want to go back tomorrow night. You know what I mean? In terms of my future, like what I'm looking at getting, as Dean was saying, he wants to be Aussie champ. That would be nice as well, I suppose. I might have to see him out there. But, I really want to bring back a trophy from Japan, from World Tour. I want a place in a World Tournament. And outside of Kyokushin, I want a belt. I want a title belt, probably in kickboxing.
So they're fantastic things to share, because it allows the listeners, and again, listeners, as in respect of the people that kind of don't know you in what you're aiming towards. And I mean, not too many people might understand that or get to hear that, and that's important, because it's not just the, training at the dojo. That is 101. You go to train, but then there is the next level and the next tier of what you guys are trying to achieve. And that's impressive. It's good. It's good to hear. It's refreshing, as I say, more and more. Fellas, let's get a bit to know you here, and I play a bit of a game to break the chat here. So, I like to say it on this level. Dean, you go first. Nathan, you've got time to prepare, but I want you to give us an angle of, your top Kyokushin fighters full contact karate fighters, and then I want you to talk to us about your favorite combat fighters, whether it's boxing, MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, whatever it may be, back to Kyokushin. Dean, give us an idea of who you watch or who you scout or who we've shared, that you like and that you're not trying to mimic. It's more, that inspires you a little bit.
There's two Kyokushin fighters that really inspire me. One is Hiroki Kurosawa, the late Hiroki Kurosawa, rest in peace to him. I always liked his brute style of girans, punching. He wasn't a flashy fighter, never tried to do spinning kicks or crazy knockouts. He was just there in the middle of it, grunt. And I guess my style is very similar to that, using those leg kicks and punches and working the body and building that strength. And I've heard some interesting stories about as well with my dad too, that he's actually trained with Kurosawa and knew him well and learnt that style too of the leg kicks. And that's where my passion is, just fighting like that, like a little energy ball, as you say, like a little bulldog. So he's one of the old Kyokushin fighters I do respect and watch a few videos. I believe it was he finished first in the All Japan in 84, 85. And then he's had a few places and stories where he's broken a foot and just not giving up in the tournament. So it's just that resilience that he showed me. Now, another favorite Kyokushin fighter of mine is Shihan Takuma, friends, learning about who he is and his personality away from Kyokushin. And like, he's a great fighter, again, won't give up. I believe, can't remember what year, but he did break his jaw, just kept going, knocked down, up, back up, won the world tournament. I like his style of just keep going until you gas. And we've all had the opportunity to train with him in seminars and learn about his tips and tricks that he uses to help better himself. So they're my two Kyokushin fighters that I love to watch still to this day. MMA, everyone will say this, every Kyokushin fighter is going to say this, GSP is great. His versatility with being able to adapt both in jiu-jitsu and Kyokushin is amazing. How he breaks things down and just is so methodical about it, with using the Kyokushin to punch and then shooting with the jiu-jitsu. A few other fighters, I do enjoy some glory kickboxers as well. Badia and Rico, I think it's Verhoeven, the Dutch heavyweight champion. Yes. He's a beast. He's throwing those head punches and the knees and the kicks. I feel my head coming off when he knocks someone out. So I do. There are a few of the fighters I enjoy watching.
That's good. That's good. That's good. No, that's good. That gives us an idea. Definitely. Hey, Nath, how do you go?
So there's two Kyokushin fighters I always watch highlight videos of when, like, the night before a tournament or something, just to get me in the spot. One of those guys is Ryu Narushima. And just being the little guy, I mean, super I'm not a little guy, but being the little guy that quick and just taking off heads of guys that are 3 times his size, is something that just makes me get all tingly when I see that happen. And the other one is Lecky Kurbanov.
Yeah.
Seeing a spinning back kick like that, just, I love that. It's one of the coolest looking techniques. But anybody can throw it, but not a lot of people can land it. That's sort of why I like those techniques. If you've got the timing and you're in the right spot at the right time, and it just connects. Yeah, that's just a thing of beauty to me.
Yeah.
Outside of karate and Kyokushin, my favorite fighter has actually always been John Jones. Yeah. Just due to his creativity, He throws things from nowhere, like makes things happen out of nothing. And I know he's got a controversial past and whatnot, but
yeah.
There's every time he steps in the octagon, I feel like I see something that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I say John Jones. I say to people, I'm not trying to be like him, or I don't admire him off the mat and whatever. That's his business. But on the mat or in the cage, it's a different conversation. I'm watching him there. I'm not watching how he eats his breakfast or drives his car and does the dumb things that he's done. And that's a lot of people have done stuff like that. So that's how I gesture it. And he's due soon too. Yeah, he's going to be. That's a good way. What so guys, you've given us we've got to know you a little bit better here, and which has been good. So Dino, you've completed your Nidan both of you are Nidan. So we segue here towards, you've journeyed into exploring the fighting phase, and now you're developing more and more, but now you're the Nidan fighters who have a bit more credibility behind your back now, and you've got more of a, I guess, target is the word I use for you, Dean. You're going to get, and Nate, and from the level of Nidan, which you've seen in your dojos and from your fathers and from senior instructors, what is it now, Dean? What is it as a, you've gestured a fair bit because you have that teaching background in your career. What are you feeling in Kyokushin at the minute? The fighting side of it, Shihan Judd's given you boys a nice angle, a nice platform to test yourselves, and then we have those other tournaments. But is there anything else? What's your next bit in giving, not back to Kyokushin, but giving, more than you've already given, up to this phase?
Well, before COVID hit us all, I was starting up a kids dojo and building my brand then, breaking off the story. Oh, there's always stories in Japan. Once you're a showdown, get out of my dojo, go train. Sham Bill's taught us those stories. And I think they're getting that Nidan level and more confidence and experience. I saw it as an opportunity to begin my own brand, as you say all the time, my own dojo. So I did start that. I think January,
start of the year.
Had some myself, and then Senpai Herc was helping me out with the kids as well. We started that, but unfortunately due to COVID, it's gone. It's up in the air now. Who knows when we're going to be able to find a place and train.
But that's what that's the part of you that wants to continue giving, teaching the kids.
I learned so much as a kid through Kyokushin, and I also, because I've always wanted to help kids in general with my career, and I saw it as an opportunity of another avenue to help children, not only just learning a sport and being active, it's about learning how to be confident in yourself, resilient, discipline, patience. They're all things that I notice in myself today of, hold on, I'm very patient. I learned that in Kyokushin, of being patient and waiting, not asking when we're grading next, not going, oh, sensei, can I have a belt? Or it's just being told, patience. Confidence, being confident to go up the front and teach. Resilient, not giving up, doing the gradings and just not giving up through the 50 fights that we've done there. So I want to teach those students all the strengths that I've grown within Kyokushin. So that's why I want to, the next stage of my life beyond tournaments is building a brighter future.
No, that's very good, man. Nate, how do you feel from here? Again, in respect of your age, and I'm not trying to down it, but you're still in that mid-20s and you've still got a lot ahead. Well, how do you feel that you're in that Nidan category now?
I've got that same sort of mindset when it comes to teaching the new guys, but like not right now, you know what I mean? Like I want to do that in the future. At the moment, my main goal is to sort of take Kyokushin back out to the other combat sports. You know what I mean? Like there was a time when Kyokushin was the number one, K1 days, they were untouchable. I don't think Kyokushin will ever die, but lately it's I feel as if it's falling off compared to, your Muay Thais and your kickboxings, your jiu-jitsus. So I want to get the Kyokushin name back out there, try and have, or if I can myself, be out there representing Kyokushin as a kickboxer or as an MMA fighter or something.
Gotcha.
But not just me, I want other people to do it as well. Just have one person there say, oh, look, he comes from there. That must be a good place,
No, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Especially if the chief's teaching you. He's been there, done that.
So the thing that really pisses me off a lot is I see on the internet, I'll see a Kyokushin fight, and it's a really good fight. And then the only thing you see in the comments is, oh, how come they're not doing this or that? Why are they only punching to the body? I'm like, well, it's the rules. And they say, well, that's a pretty dumb rule. Yeah. But like, people don't understand the history behind it, and it grinds my gears,
Yeah, well, that's been going on for a long time, and it comes with the environment of this sort of stuff. But that's cool to hear, Nate. To be honest, that's cool to hear, because there is that ingredient, is probably the right word, of someone else, or others out there. I know Michael Dent shared last week that he was going to have a crack in Hex in MMA. And had he not said that to me, and maybe the 300 people that have listened to that last podcast, I doubt anyone would have known. So, and yourself, on target towards, the next part of your, level is to, get that title belt in some form, whether it's, whatever style. But yeah, that's good to hear, because so, you mentioned the K1 category. Did you boys get a chance to listen to Sam Greco?
Oh yeah, that was unreal.
Yeah.
What was unreal about it, Nate? What made you? What were some of the things that made you get a little bit, juiced up about it, happy about it?
Good question. I don't know. Just feeling like through the computer, he had an aura about him. Like, I'd love to go and train with him.
Yeah, well, if you do, mate, and this is the bit, right? This is, and I can, can answer a bit of it for you, and as to why they're great, and then why he's one of the greatest in K1, because they trained like animals. They gave everything. They put everything down, and we've just said that to both of you. I've just said to both of you before that, the sacrifice already is big, but then you've got to put in more. Just continue to do more. Shihan Billy says it to you, Dean. He said it to me as a pup. Whoever you're competing against is training harder than you. There's no doubt about it. He's training harder than you, and it makes you go, oh, no, he's not. Surely he's having a break. And there's no break. And that to become great, to become the greatest, or to become that next level, like you're saying, Nate, and you train with a Sam Greco or a Peter Graham. They're going to instill those things that they had and some and more, because they're not going to let you make the mistakes, or they're not going to lead you down the path of what didn't make them great. That's your dad doesn't do it, Dean, your dad doesn't do it. If anything, that's the hardest part, because they were good, they were great. And then you're like, I'm doing my best, or I've got stuff on, and I'll try and get to that. It's like, there's that ain't going to cut it. That ain't going to cut it. And you can, and this is the cool bit of chatting to you lads and other fighters is listening and hearing to what their goals and windows are, or where you guys are heading. It's not just this. It's not just rocking up to certain tournaments and then because in Kyokushin it's bloody hard. You lose your first round, you commit 6 weeks or your whole year to training, you lose your first round, and then pack your bags, piss off. Or you do a Dean and you make the third round of a world tournament. You think the pressure on him, when we said we were going to go, when were we going to go back to the 20? Well, we're going to go to another world tournament this year or next year. But now because of this, but the pressure on Dean was put high up, and to you as well, Nate. So it's good to hear. Hey fellas, I'll do the one word game here. So when I say the word, the name, whoever I say, you guys, Dean, I'll give you 5 first, or a couple that come up in my head. I just pull it off. Give me your one word answer here, just to hit you on the spot. The first one is Masoyama.
Greatest.
Because then I can see a picture behind you, and it's the great, and I'll say Muhammad Ali.
Oh, fast, speed for me.
Yeah. What about when I say Bill Polly, Shihan?
Okay.
Not your dad. Not your dad.
Tough.
Yeah, fair enough. The angle that you and I like as well, LeBron James.
Resilient.
And then one more, because you and I have spoken about him, Kobe Bryant.
What can I say? GOAT, pretty much.
Ooh, yeah, he meant a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Nathan, here we go. A bit of a break of the ice here. Hey, what do you think when I say Masoyama, Sosai Masoyama to you?
Strong.
Shihan Jim Phillips.
Hard.
Shihan Judd Reed.
Inspiring.
Yeah. And because you've dabbled with the chief Peter Graham, what do you think?
The best.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. And then you've mentioned John Jones, but give me the one word if we're at a dinner party and I say John Jones.
I'm gonna have to go with GOAT for that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to
It
go.
is. It is pretty cool. He is definitely. He's in that category. That's cool, lads. It gives a bit of a idea. Uh, because you two boys are in your mid-20s, and when you're seeing, Ali, or you're hearing about K1 from you guys, and I shared it with Sam and Peter Graham, who fought in K1. We were in Japan trying to get the K1 tapes. They weren't even existent in Australia back in the early 2000s. It was a rare thing, and now you boys I get to send you links, or you get to just have a look at that one flick of a YouTube link, and away you go. From here, and just in going forward, we've got about 5 or so minutes left. Dino, you have the opportunity with the kids and the dojos and the growth. How do you see, I guess, we've spoken about future, but and where you're heading with it. But Kyokushin, Nathan kind of gestured it then. The thing that frustrates him a little bit is that, there isn't that profile figure anymore in that fighting angle that, has that Kyokushin in it. What's the bit that you feel with Kyokushin? I mean, and I'm saying this because you two boys, and it's for the others out there that aren't aware, but should, I'm sharing it. These two boys their fathers have led the way in Zen Kyokushin in our group. And I guess the three of us, but more so you two, the reason for your fathers doing that is because the onus is going to be back on you boys when you're in the next 20 years as such, when your fathers are, I'll respectfully say it, a little bit older than what they are at the minute, if you're listening. So I'm respectfully gesturing. Have you envisaged anything 20 years from now, Dean and Nathan? Or Dean, answer first. Is there something that you kind of want to share with us?
I guess it's bringing back the strength trying our best to bring back the strength that it was years ago. Obviously, it's never going to be the same after Sosai's passing and everything breaking away and happening there. But it's just bringing back the strength and awareness of Kyokushin and what it does for people and how strong a family can be. I think it's more family, making sure that we all stay strong together in Australia and build Kyokushin here to become a force that when we go overseas, they're like, oh shit, Australia's coming, prepare for tournaments. And I guess it is something that is on my mind of what's going to happen for the future with myself and Nathan. It is going to be a time where we are going to have to step up and go, boys, your time. Obviously, our dads won't be able to do it all their lives. Their spirit and support will always be there. But I just wanted to make sure that we all let everyone know that Kyokushin is known as the strongest karate. We never give up. And we're a family that will never be alone. And I just want us to be that strong family again.
Yeah, I guess it's something that we could play in 20 years' time, and play this YouTube back in 20 years' time. We probably won't be able to find it in 20 years' time, but and see what you'd answered. Nathan, what do you feel when I say that, and the responsibility of your name and your pedigree, and again, like I gestured to Dean?
I know that it's coming. I know that I've got a certain responsibility that I'm going to have to live up to one day. And I have thought about that, and I've spoken about that with my dad and with Shihan Billy as well. As of now, when I've spoken to other people about it, especially Erica, my cousin, she said that I got to not focus on that yet. To be a fighter, it's a selfish game. You got to focus on yourself, and I sort of have tried to take that a little bit. Like I used to try and help everybody out, keep everybody happy. Now that I've heard, what I've got to give up, what I've got to, even what people have to think of me to get to where I want to be, and all that's going to eventually reflect on the future,
Yeah.
So I have sort of tried to keep pushing that away until I'm ready to take that step, you know?
No, good work. No, good work. And I wanted, I'll take the floor off you boys for a couple of minutes here. And the reason I put that position forward is for others to understand and appreciate, I guess, and you know, see the you guys don't have weight on your shoulder. I'm not putting that. We're not putting that type of pressure, but again, it's something that is it's there, if that makes sense. It's there for these two boys, you know, their fathers, and you know, there's others, other masters that have got sons as well. And again, this episode here was to you know, give everyone this perspective of how these two boys were black belts in their mother's wombs. As such, you know, they were probably hearing usas and kiais and the dojo kun when they were negative, you know, 4 months, you know. So, you know, they're pretty special lads to what's happening here for the next generation, and that is, you know, the word we use for you both. You know, and then there is then a Nathan that says, well, we'll just park that over here. I know it's here, and I'll just park that here, and there's no doubt that it's watering. And then Dino, Senpai Dino and I chat about, you know, he's consistently training at my dojo, and then building his next. And when Dino was saying brand, for those out there, you know, Shihan Bill has his, I have mine, and then Shihan Senpai Dean and Senpai Nathan have to build their own. They have to detach themselves from their fathers and what they have done for. And I use the word, you know, holding the flame for Shihan Bill and Hunchi Eddie Emin. You know, that's been my word, and how I've taken it on board to make sure, you know, while Shihan Bill is working overseas the last 6-7 years, and Dean hasn't had his father here for that amount of time, you know, so we have that brotherhood there, as well as mateship and teammateship and student relationship. And then Nathan, you know, you go through the ebbs and flows of seeing your dad pretty much every day, training under him every day, totally different to Dean, you know, where Dean was going through that for a long, long time. And then, you know, so it's just sharing this ecosystem of Kyokushin karate, martial art, and having these, not just as fighters and what's ahead, but boys, lads, fellas, I've known you guys for a long time, but for those out there, they've got to know you a little bit better, you know. So, you know, Dean was, and Nathan have fought on Shihan Judd's cards, which gave them, you know, great exposure in the last year or so, and things were warming up very nicely, you know, getting exposed to world tournament fighters from Japan. And then, you know, again, if things were progressing, Shihan Judd is going to continue to do more, but then the pressure not mounts more now to you two lads and Michael Dent and David W. Smith. I've asked Samuel Shields to join us. He'll get to us soon. And then there's some other females, but you guys have got to, I guess, hold the flame up for the fighters of Kyokushin. So, you know, in signing us off here, Dino, you know, feel free to say whatever you want, mate. If you want to gesture how shit Carlton is, no problem. To the listeners out there. But then, you know, if you've got anything to say, it's just more of a, you know, not a thank you as such. It's more just gesturing how you're going from here, and Nathan as well.
Yeah, still buzzing over last night's win. It was a bit controversial, but I'll take it anyway. So go Blues there. I guess at a time like this, it's very important to stay mentally healthy. That's the biggest thing that's going to help us all get through this. Like I told you, when we first came back, restrictions were lifted. I was like a little kid putting my gi on at home, getting ready, going, shit, I haven't trained for 3 months in the dojo. Let's go back and do it. Taking that away is like my favorite toy taken away. So I guess everybody stay mentally healthy, connect with your family, keep yourself fit, just push through it and focus on the things that you can control at the moment. Don't focus on the things that are out of your control, because they are going to make it harder to deal with. And before we know it, we'll all get through this and we'll get out of it stronger together.
Good on you, man. Nath, how are you going? What have you got to share with others?
Exact same thing. Like, took the words out of my mouth. Stay safe, stay fit, and stay, you know, be in the right mindset.
Yeah.
It can only last for so long.
Good on. Gents, be sure to listeners, you can follow these two boys. They're on social media, and I give them a bit of slack in just sharing the way Kyokushin is and the way that they train. And I know from back end what they do, and I know they don't put it up too much, but it's more just to encourage others and to they're at that level now to put it out there more. And thanks both for your time. I hope this gives you more and gives the others out there an idea of who you both are. I'm lucky to know you both well, but I think now others now can get an idea and a perspective of, you work hard, you guys are young, you guys have got a lot of commitment, sacrifices and all the above, and you're just scratching the surface, just absolutely scratching the surface of your full potentials. And well done to you both. Thanks both for your time.
Awesome.
Good on you guys. Thanks for
you.
being on the shuffle. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.